The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
All righty, kicking it. Would this be old school bass because it's just the three of us again, or is like this middle school bass like like we were old school with Andy, then he was gone, and we did that for a while.
That's 1.5.
Okay, that'll work. 1.5. Yeah. Anyway, Andy's in Arizona for the holidays, so he will not be joining us tonight. But the three of us are here to wildly entertain you for the next whoever knows how long it'll be. But we're here, and that's all that matters, I guess. Well, that I'm completely tangled up in my headphone cable there. There we go. So everybody have a good holiday?
Yeah.
Yeah, all things considered, not too bad.
We got good weather here. I was actually able to ride my motorcycle on Christmas Eve, which was just a thrill for me.
It's we got rain in California for
I heard you got some snow too out there.
well, yeah, up in the mountains, which we need desperately, build up that snowpack, get us out of the drought that
Yeah.
we're constantly in.
And in Florida, it was 78 and sunny every day. So screw you, Mike.
It is what it is. I miss. I do admit, part of me misses the snow for Christmas.
You weren't going to get any this year. It was closer to like a spring day in March here. Now, I don't know about in Ontario, but here it was not anything at all winter-like at all. So it was pretty nice out. I think it was 62, or on Christmas Eve 62, and then on Christmas Day like 64. So
Yeah, it rained here. It rained in Arizona. I was out there for the day, as Andy said in our text chat. Two bass ships passing in the night.
yeah. Weren't you and Mike in Las Vegas at the same time way back at the beginning of all this? I thought that you guys were actually
I think we missed each other by a couple days or something like that.
It was a few days in between. Yeah.
Oh, I thought like you were both in town and close to each other, just didn't know it.
No, I think with Andy and I,
we talked about the trips on the show.
Right. I think Andy and I being together in the same city is the closest we've ever come to crossing the streams here. But yeah.
Hey, we've got our first Russian bot in the chat and the messages there. You see that?
We've had a couple bots the last few weeks, but that's the first Russian one. I think you're right.
How about that? That's
Das Vidanya, comrade.
right. Yeah, I don't know what it says, but they're trying to get us to go to some website.
Minipaknaba.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not not going to put it on the screen because I don't know what will happen if we do that. But thanks for inviting us. We'll pass on that, but it was awfully nice of you to think of us.
Dun, 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 dun,
But
dun,
spasiba? Is that how you say thank you in Russian? Spasiba? Something like that? I don't know.
Sputnik.
There you go.
I hope you lose in World Juniors. Whatever.
So yeah, we I got to say, guys, the NFL weekend I thought was like pretty weak overall.
It was weird because with the games being spread out over a couple days,
Yeah,
the Sunday games were kind of like I got to watch the Rams in the morning, and then we got to the afternoon. It's like there's like 2 games going on, 3 games, I think. It's like I don't want to watch any of these. And by the time the Cowboys game got kicked off on Sunday night, they'd already clinched the division. So it was like, all right. So
and it wasn't even a good game.
No, but we had the biggest news of the Sunday was the setting the NFL record for offensive touchdowns by linemen.
yeah.
Four lineman touchdowns, 4 fat guy touchdowns on Sunday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
3 on purpose and 1 on accident, but they all count.
Yeah,
I don't know. In good news, the Patriots are no longer, I guess, the number 1 seed.
I was going to say we can probably lower the Patriots warning down to just a watch as opposed to a warning now, because they don't seem to be the Patriots.
Yeah, no, the Bills. Look at the Bills go. They did it, guys.
It's amazing what happens when they play the Patriots not in the worst blizzard of this generation.
It was really, I don't know. It didn't even seem like a particularly notable game. I just know on the CCSLC we have a Pats fan who was complaining about biased officiating against the Patriots, and it's just like, shut up.
Well, even if it was, you kind of earned it over the past 20 years, so just deal with it for a while.
2 decades worth of dominance, like, fuck, man. If any of my teams ever pulled that off, I'd just shut the fuck up and just enjoy it. Just enjoy that it happened.
Well, it would be like an Alabama fan showing up and complaining about anything. It's like,
yeah.
Really? You're a Patriots fan? Come on, man. You know, you're going to get some calls that don't go your way. I didn't see that game. I was bummed because we got. Well,
the thing about it, the thing about it that made it even laughable is that it was the most bitchy ass complaining over a call I've ever seen. Mac Jones.
Oh my God, Matt Castle.
Same thing.
Well, he was a Patriots quarterback.
Same guy.
Mac Jones was running out of bounds, and I guess after he went out of bounds, he was lightly shoved by a Bills player. And so you had Pats fans up in unnecessary roughness. And it's like, really? No.
Well, you know how they are. You want to see some upset fans? You should have seen Browns fans after the Packers game on Saturday.
The Packers got some favorable bullshit calls. No.
Oh boy, the one where Baker Mayfield threw his 4th interception. Yeah, that was such clear interference, and they didn't call it. And then the Packers intercepted it, and that ended the game. And I got to say the Browns had a case on that one.
I have to ask, as a Browns fan, Greg. What do you think of their decision mid-season to change the logo to a rabbit pushing a grocery cart?
I really think they should lean into that and make that the official logo. It's so. It's funny. I never noticed it. And as soon as you guys sent that, I'm like, oh my God, it is. It's a rabbit pushing a grocery cart.
Well, especially when they put the orange helmet on an orange background and somehow lose the outline.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah. I mean, I see what you're talking about. Like, as somebody that knows what the Browns logo looks like, it's like, yeah, no, that's a football helmet. And then these are all coming from people that were watching too much football with their families over the holidays.
Yeah. Too many civilians.
Yeah, you had a lot of people who don't religiously follow the NFL watching, and they were like, "What's that?"
Yeah,
I would absolutely lean into that and make that their official logo somehow.
A rabbit pushing a grocery cart.
Yeah, why not? Give it to Nike; they'll figure out a way to connect it to Cleveland somehow. I mean, come on, that's what they do, right?
Is it any weirder than an elf or a dog?
Not really,
right?
God, the Browns have really run the gambit when it comes to logos, right? Like helmet, elf, dog. What other team could pull off all 3 of those?
Well, that would be my Cleveland Browns. That game on Saturday was an existential crisis game for me. I just kind of sat there.
Does that count in the Bass Bowl standings? I don't know. I don't know how that would work. At first I was like, I don't think the Browns are going to make the playoffs. So I was like, yeah.
I was informed they were Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah, go back and read what I said in that thread. I said they'll go 9-8 and miss the playoffs. I'm right on schedule right now. But my thought was, okay, first of all, I don't think the Browns are going to win this game. Secondly, I don't like their playoff chances. And third, I need the Packers to get that number 1 seed, because this is probably realistically my last shot at getting that shareholder Super Bowl ring for a good long while. So eventually what I came down to is I'm just going to sit back and let it happen. Whatever happens, happens. If the Browns win, great. If the Packers win, that's fine too. So I really didn't root for it. It was kind of a weird experience because I just sat there and went, okay. And it was kind of nice, actually. It was very, very zen-like, just kind of sitting there and letting it flow over me.
Mm-hmm.
But the Browns played better than I thought they would. I really thought that
it was a close game. They almost pulled it off.
I'm scrolling, like I was looking at the Browns page here just for something else. But I'm scrolling through their losses. They have one loss or two losses by more than one score. That's it.
Well,
lost to the Chiefs by 4, lost to the Chargers by 5, blowout to the Cardinals, lost to the Steelers by 5, blowout to the Patriots, lost to the Ravens by 6, lost to the Raiders by 2, lost to the Packers by 2. Like, this is a team that's almost there, but always finds its way on the bad side of it.
Well, you know what, though? If you go back and look at their schedule last year, they won all of those close games.
Well, yeah,
and something in analytics about that like if you win them one year, you're going to lose them the next, and that's kind of what happened to them.
Well, to
that degree too, they beat the Ravens by 2, they beat the Lions by 3,
right?
They beat the Broncos by 3, they beat the Vikings by 7. Yeah.
Well, the way that I've always understood it is that in a football game that's only decided by one score, it's essentially a coin flip. And some years you win most of those coin flips, and some years you don't.
Basically, that's it, pretty much, in a nutshell, yeah. And I was reading a thing about it after the game, and well, it was one of those guys from either The Ringer or ESPN was talking about that. I forget there's a name for it. It's not just like the close game thing or whatever, but they talked about it and said that the Browns won most of those games last year, and this year they've lost most of those games, and that's pretty much the difference. I think there's more to it than that. I think that Baker Mayfield's been playing way more hurt than he's letting on all season.
Oh, well, the dude's falling apart.
Right. And he probably the smarter move would have been to sit down 6 weeks ago and heal, but he wouldn't do it because he's in a contract year. I mean, what happens if Case Keenum goes out there and looks great? And we've seen
Casey Keenum should have gotten the starting job just for saying he wanted to go full Chubb.
Right, exactly. I couldn't agree more, but no, we've seen it before with these Case Keenum, Nick Foles types. They go out and have a couple of good games, and the next thing you know, they're like, "Well, this is our guy." So I can't blame Baker for not doing that. But
Nick Foles won a football game on Sunday.
Yeah, he did, against the Seattle Seahawks. So as always, fuck Russell Wilson and thank you, Bears.
I do want to point out that at the start of the season, I said I thought the Seahawks were going to miss the playoffs, and it's panning out.
Well, Mike, I also want to point out something you said earlier in the season that the Kansas City Chiefs were done.
Oh, they were playing so badly. What do you want from me?
Well, I just want to let you know they're now first seed in the AFC.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I think I just blocked Dennis by accident. I didn't mean to do. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I blocked Dennis. I'm sorry, I blocked you. I didn't mean to do that. I was blocking the Russian bots. How do I undo that? Oh fuck! I just blocked Dennis from our chat by accident. Sorry about that. I will fix that somehow here. Let me try to.
Well, anyway, yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs.
I was gonna say we're also getting big ratings in Omsk tonight.
Yes.
I clicked on block user and I accidentally clicked on Dennis, so he's blocked now. And I didn't.
Well,
can he even still hear us now?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if you have to do it through this or go through.
Here, you guys talk for a second.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so well, Greg fumbles with this.
Well, Greg takes on the Soviet Union and tries to rescue our man caught in friendly fire.
Dennis was just collateral damage in that. I'm sorry.
Bucks won the NFC South for the first time since 2007. So,
yeah. Well, I mean,
were they a wild card last year?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. All right.
Well, no. Yeah, that's right, because they had to go on the road to play the football team and Taylor Heineke.
Yes, they they were a wild card team last year. The Saints won the division.
Yeah, that's right.
And so the Saints actually put a beating on the Bucks a week ago, and
that 9-0 beatdown.
Oh no! The amount of Bucks players who got hurt in that game, it was a beatdown.
Yeah, well, that's why they're okay with bringing in Antonio Brown still after.
Yes.
What's happened to him?
But what was interesting is that Tom Brady had a bad game. obviously. And so, unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers were the recipients of Angry Tom. And, it didn't go too well for them. I saw someone describe the Panthers' strategy of switching quarterbacks as the equivalent to when all of your batteries and your remotes have died and you just keep switching them hoping that it's going to work.
They have been doing that for weeks.
Yeah.
And like Cam Newton looks awful. And PJ Walker is like, was he the XFL guy or was he?
He was the XFL. No, he was XFL. He was for the broke ass Oiler knockoffs.
Right. And they've been like flip-flopping between those guys since they sat Darnold or Darnold got hurt. I forget which one happened. And they've been bad. And then, did you hear Matt Rule's Jay-Z quote?
No.
Oh God, really?
Oh God. Let me pull up exactly what he said. So the Panthers lost, and he's now on the hot seat more or less because the team just hasn't been very good in his tenure there. So somebody asked him if he thought what he was doing with the team was working, or that the rebuild was on schedule or something like that. He said, "I believe it's 1,000% working. I just know no one can see it, and I apologize. As I tell our team all the time, it took Jay-Z like 7 years. He had to start his own agency to become famous, to become an overnight sensation. It takes time." So he's comparing the struggles of the Carolina Panthers to overnight sensation.
To Jay-Z.
To Jay-Z.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that, Coach Rule. It kind of just seems like you've got a bad football team that can't do anything when the best running back in the league is out. Just hypothetically, just spitballing ideas. Also, you keep rotating three quarterbacks who aren't really very good.
Mm-hmm.
Although Sam Darnold had a few good passes on
they
Sunday,
had Teddy Bridgewater last year and decided to replace him with Sam Darnold. So,
but in probably the funniest result of the weekend, we had the Chargers losing to the Texans.
So good.
Oh wow.
So good. Especially when the Chargers are in the heat of this playoff race and everyone was all over Justin Herbert a couple weeks ago, and wow, this team's exciting, and wow, they go for it on fourth down all the time, and isn't this great? And then they lose to the Texans.
They lose to a team that, as far as I can tell, is just a bunch of guys.
They still have Davis Mills. Is that right?
Was he their quarterback? General Mills?
He's been
Davis Mills.
Let me see if I can. I'm still trying to find it.
Sorry.
Dennis, I'm still working furiously to unblock you here, and I just can't figure it out.
You might have to do it on YouTube itself.
That's what I'm thinking. Let me,
because that's where he was chatting from.
Fire. How can I? If I know which channel he's watching on, I think I can do it. Let's see. Let me go to YouTube. Switch accounts. All right. Sorry, guys. We'll get this done here in just a second. I just feel bad that I did that.
But yeah, the Chargers, they were supposed to win the NFC or the AFC West, right? At the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
At the same time that we were all crapping on the Chiefs.
Yep.
And maybe, just maybe, they're not all you want to hype them up to be.
Well,
because this has happened.
They're the Chargers. They're the Chargers.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's coaching. Doesn't matter who the personnel are. They're the Chargers. They're gonna charger, and there's no bigger chargering than chargering against a team that willfully destroyed itself. They're gonna charge.
Right. And as it stands right now, they're in a three-way tie for the final playoff spot in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore's 8-7, Chargers are 8-7, Raiders are 8-7. Baltimore owns the tiebreaker over, because there's still a couple games left. All the tiebreakers are a little wonky at some point, but as of now, they're tied with Baltimore. And they've got the Broncos and the Raiders to finish off the schedule, which if you lose to the Texans, you can lose to anybody. So they lost the Broncos already once this season.
Dennis, you should be back.
Dennis, has Dennis been unblocked?
I think so. Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to let him know.
Okay, awesome. So the I don't know, the Chargers. It doesn't matter. This team's always going to be this. Like they're going to always find ways to snatch defeat, a victory from the a defeat from the jaws of victory. And
Success. Okay, sorry, he's back. Sorry about that.
And it's just too good. Like, just got the Texans, really. Jesus. Again, I don't even know who the fucking coach is. I don't even know who the quarterback is for the Houston Texans. What fucking that Mills dude? But that's about it.
Davis Mills, yeah.
Davis Mills, yeah.
Who is? I remember we looked him up. I had no idea where he went to school or anything like that.
Stanford, right?
Stanford guy, yeah. But what did he throw on Sunday? He went 21-27 for 254 and 2 TDs, no interceptions.
Wow,
not terrible.
Not bad at all. No,
not terrible.
Doing that with the Texans, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually looking over all of his numbers. He actually hasn't been all that bad since he came in. But I mean, the rest of the team's garbage.
This wouldn't have happened to Chaos Blast. But yeah, anything else happen? Anything else happen? Oh, well, I guess we can talk about the self-destruction of the Arizona Cardinals.
Can we please? So I have some stats which are fun.
Okay.
In Cliff Kingsbury's seasons there with the Arizona Cardinals, well, at least at the very least, over the last 2 seasons, when the Cardinals have had the opportunity to clinch a playoff spot, they are 0-6.
Wow.
Now, they got the playoff spot clinched for them automatically without any of their doing over the weekend because the Rams beat the Vikings. So that clinks the spot for the Cardinals, unfortunately. But they haven't been able to clinch a playoff spot on their own merits over the last 2 seasons. And additionally, like in Kingsbury's 3 seasons there's something like 15-6 in the first 7 weeks of the season, and then 8-18 in every week after that.
Huh.
So his teams tend to, fall apart, which kind of stands to reason, which we've seen with Kyler Murray's success over the last couple of years, where it's, oh my God, he comes out, he's an MVP candidate, and then all of a sudden, where did he go?
Yeah, and he's just not very good. It's just, it's not even like I don't know. I'm trying to think back. Have they beaten anybody good this year? I mean, they
beat the Rams once.
Yeah, but that was back when they were still the Cardinals,
and the Rams beat them back.
Beat them back in Arizona, right?
The beginning of the year, they opened up at the Titans with a big win. That's when the Titans were good. They beat the Vikings by 1 point. Beat the Jaguars
when the Vikings missed that kick and all that stuff, right?
Beat the Jags, beat the Rams, beat the 49ers, beat the Browns, beat the Texans, beat the 49ers, beat the Seahawks, beat the Bears. So not really.
Not exactly murderer's row there, is it?
Right, because the Rams, like you said, the Rams came back and beat them in the most recent game. The 49ers, God, that's a team that everyone got really hot for a couple weeks and then fell back to earth on Thursday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Cardinals are kind of doing what they do, and Cardinal fans and the Cardinals themselves were asking, like, what do we have to do to be recognized as a real deal? And it's like, well, you got to get to the playoffs.
Don't do this.
And then, because now here's the situation for them. They're the 5 seed. And, assuming, they would have to beat Dallas on Sunday to have a shot. And Dallas is looking pretty good right now. But it looks like it's the Rams division to lose. And the Rams have Baltimore and San Francisco down the stretch. So the Rams should win the division, all things considered.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
So that means the Cardinals are going to sit there at the 5 spot. And if Dallas and the Rams keep winning as they are, and the Rams hold the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay, the Cardinals are going to have to go to Tampa Bay in the first round.
That's not
which is
go well.
not where you want to go. So what was a promising season might go down the drains pretty quick.
Well, another thing that's worth pointing out, and you mentioned it, Zach, so they can't really close anything out. If this is a team that historically can't win a playoff, win a game that would clinch them a playoff spot, and then they kind of just get into the playoffs just through no real win of their own, that doesn't speak to my confidence in them being able to win come playoff time.
No, and I guess to their defense, they've been a little knocked up or banged up recently. A couple injuries. DeAndre Hopkins is out, and Watt, and
didn't they start out like 8-1 or something like that? And now they've lost 3 of the last 4 or 4 of the last 5, something like that.
Yeah, they lost 3 in a row. Colts, Lions. They lost to the damn Lions, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of those like fluky. Oops, we accidentally.
No, the Lions kicked their ass.
Lions just stomped them. Yeah. Which to me, that's a bad sign to me. If you're a playoff team this late in the season, you can't go in and let a team with 1 win just beat the daylights out of you the way they did. I know that you have an off day here and there, but when you're playing for a number 1 seed or a division title and all that, you can't lose to the Detroit Lions in week 13 or whatever it was. That just can't. You can't do that.
No, ever. I mean, I think a turning point for them might have been that I think it is to a degree that Packers game, where that's a tough game against the Packers, and you really have to fight that one out. If you're a true championship contender, you stick with it. And yeah, sure, they beat up the 49ers the next week without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins for a bit. And I think that also derailed them in this middle part of the season. But they were winning games without them. And yes, it was the 49ers, Seahawks, and Bears, but they won those games with Colt McCoy at quarterback, for God's sakes.
Colt McCoy.
And so then you get your guys back, so to speak, you get DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray back for the Rams game, and you don't do anything with it. And then DeAndre Hopkins goes out for the season. Now you got Kyler Murray back there, unable to see over his own linemen, getting swallowed up by guys, and losing to the Lions and the Colts. In that Colts game, they looked awful. They looked terrible. And the Colts controlled that game with Jonathan Taylor, who's been really awesome lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been amazing. There was a time where I said that Nick Chubb was the best running back in the league, but not anymore.
No,
it's Jonathan Taylor. It's not even close, really.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to non-quarterback MVP candidates, he's one of the only other 2.
It's him and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the MVP thing for a second, because it's hard to say that the quarterback's not the most valuable player on a good team, because like you take like the Packers, you take away Aaron Rodgers and forget it. They're not going to win 3 games, let alone 13 or whatever they've won so far. I don't know who the backup quarterback is with the Rams, but they're not as good.
John Walford.
Okay, yeah, okay. That dude's not going to make
is that the Wolf of Wall Street, or is that someone else?
That's him. That's him.
Okay.
Well, you know what I'm saying. So
yeah.
I almost wondered if they should but then I look at Jonathan Taylor and I go, would they be? I mean, Carson Wentz. I think he's kind of interchangeable. I think without Taylor, they're not this good. And you could make I mean, I know that everybody wants to give it to a quarterback. That's fine, but I think it's got to be the guy where you go, which guy did the most and took his team the farthest, that they would have fallen the farthest without him.
Right. And that's the problem with the NFL's MVP. And it's not like hockey where you can just you could say the same thing about a goaltender in hockey, right?
Yeah.
But they make a goalie award and you put them aside. Or pitchers in baseball, you give them their own award and you push them aside. But unfortunately, it has morphed into a quarterback award. But I think there has to be circumstances like what Jonathan Taylor is doing that make you say, yeah, no, 100% they wouldn't be doing what he's doing. Like if you take I think the idea is if you took the Packers and you put an average quarterback at the helm of the Packers, would they be 12-3? Probably not. But would they be a good team otherwise?
Yeah, they probably would be.
Probably.
You
look at the Buccaneers,
more like the Titans or along those lines, or the Colts is another example of what they would be. Like if you put Carson Wentz on the Packers, they probably still go. They're still 8-6 at this point.
Right. And the other thing with the MVP debate, to bring in other quarterbacks, we knocked Patrick Mahomes out of this thing with the bad start they had, and now they're 11-4.
Yeah,
they're a game behind the Packers. Is he not an MVP candidate anymore because they lost 4 games out of the first 7?
Well, yeah, I mean, so they've lost one more game than the Packers have. They just did it in a different fashion.
Right.
So what's the difference? That's what I mean. I mean, it's like, okay, again, it would be a very tough case to make that your quarterback on a good team or a great team is not your most valuable player. Because you see, well, then again, though, you see like a Nick Foles come in and take over and take a team to the Super Bowl. Jeff Hostetler did it years ago. And
sure.
Hard to say. I don't know. I just, if I had to make a vote right now, I also, they don't do it. It's just like for the entire NFL, not like an AFC or an NFC one, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that might be an easier way to go too, because I'd go like, okay, it's Rodgers in the NFC, maybe. I think you can make a case for oh shit, I lost my train of thought there. Who was I thinking of in the NFC?
Cooper Kupp.
Oh, well, maybe, sure, good. Where are the Rams without him? Here's a question: does another guy, another wide, like you said, an average wide receiver, go in and get the catches he's making this year? I don't think so. So. No. And that would same with Jonathan Taylor. If you put, we'll just use Trent Richardson because he's a good example.
Oh,
or but you know what I mean. They're like, I don't know who his backup is. You put that guy in there, he's not doing this. You know?
And it's not only just like the average guy thing with them too. Like when they don't run the ball, they're not
terrible.
Great, right?
Yeah.
So when they center their game plan around him and use them as they kind of center their attack on what he's doing, they've done great. I mean, look what he did, not just with this Cardinals game, but specifically what they did to New England last week. Like that was his showcase, right?
Yeah.
And I think it has to be said that it's not even like a fatigue thing, like, oh, we've seen Aaron Rodgers win before. Yes, he's very good, but the Colts would not be where they are at all without a guy like Jonathan Taylor.
No, because then you're looking at what's left of T.Y. Hilton, Carson Wentz, who I don't think anybody is looking at going, yeah, this guy can lead them all the way to the Super Bowl without Jonathan Taylor. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Even what Tom Brady's doing in Tampa, like it started off great and it's amazing that he's doing it at the age he's doing it, but is this an MVP Tom Brady season, or is it just the Buccaneers were really good and he was their quarterback?
I think it's a little of both. I think that's the thing though, again, is it the full body of work, or is it like, what have you done for me lately? Yeah. Because if it's what have you done for me lately, then Mahomes kind of falls out of the,
Well, I mean, when it comes to Tom Brady, you can look at you could just look at where the Bucs were with Jameis Winston versus Tom Brady.
I'll tell you this, they were far more entertaining. I will say that. They weren't as good.
Yeah, Tom Brady comes in year 1, wins the Super Bowl. That's not. But and then again, that was last season. But this season, is Tom Brady having a MVP caliber season? I would probably say not. But at the same time,
yes. I'd say he is. I would. Right. Yeah. Is it like one of his dominant seasons, like the year that he threw like 7,000 yards and 58 touchdowns to Randy Moss? No. But it's all got to be in context of what's happening this season. And I say in this season, I don't know if I'd give it to him, but he's certainly got to be in the running, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, yeah, he's the number 2 quarterback in the running behind Rodgers.
Okay, and here's a question: everybody's been asking this: does the COVID stuff hurt Rodgers in the MVP race? Should it?
It probably won't. Honestly, I think like it's something to be annoyed with him about still, but I think for the most part, people have kind of like.
I mean, the problem is that once you start bringing in that, then a whole bunch of other off-field considerations become then you can go through the history of NFL MVPs, and you could probably find some instances where someone won an MVP in a season where they did some not so great off the field stuff, and it's a
ultimately it didn't affect. It wasn't something that adversely affected the team, right? Like, yeah, they had that one game where he wasn't able to play, and it was a low scoring game against the Chiefs. that they
It
lost.
was a disaster.
But was it something where like he took steroids and was
Right.
suspended for 4 games? No, he tried to skirt around the rules of saying he was immunized, but he also followed the rules from all accounts. Besides that,
I think it's
and then when he got tested positive, he sat out as he was supposed to.
I think his
break
biggest
any rules really.
His biggest mistake was just, and there were 3 options on the table when they asked him about being vaccinated. The correct answer was no, which he could have said. He could have said, "I'm not going to discuss it with you," and let them draw their own conclusions by how he acted around the team and whether he was following separate protocols and all that. The third option was to come up with some bullshit. "I've been inoculated," or however he put it, immunized.
Immunized,
Yeah. And that was, of the 3 options, that was by far the worst choice, because you were just straight up lying at that point. Or you've got an immunization out there that none of the rest of us know about, and you're being a dick for not sharing it with us. One of the two.
I guess the other option would have been to pull an Antonio Brown and
just fake
your
it.
vaccination card.
Fake a vaccinate.
You guys know that if they caught 3, that means 50 got away with it, right? This is like
Sure. I mean, hell, they got Evander Kane for doing that in the NHL too, and which somehow is the least of his problems right now.
Yeah. So is Antonio Brown back now? Or is he?
He played. He played
3-game suspension. Yeah,
he played on Sunday.
Okay. Well,
And the thing about it was, like, he had the fake card, but he ultimately got vaccinated still. So it was like, why did you do?
Why
that?
go through the trouble of getting the fake card if you're just going to get vaccinated?
Well, there's a lot of bad information out there about vaccinations right now, and if I'm not. It's like when you're playing for an NFL team, you got time to sit down and go, okay, I got to find out what's true and what isn't here. I mean. I don't know. There's a lot of bad information out there, and he probably should have just said, come on. I don't think that
he should have just said that I'm not vaccinated and I'm doing my research and I'll figure it out.
Or I'll talk to do it the smart. This is what I don't get. All right, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. I just want to say this: don't all of us have a family doctor? I mean, honestly, and the NFL, they have doctors fucking running around left and right. What is so difficult if you don't know what to do to go to a person that I hate to break it to you folks, but they know more about this shit than you do, and say, like I did with my doctor. Now, the first one I just went and did it, but when I went the booster, I went to my doctor. I said, "Look, this is what I want to do. Should I?" And he said, "With your age and your condition, yes, you absolutely should." And so I went and did it. That was what made my decision. Not a bunch of bullshit from either side of the argument. Just like, okay, I'm going to ask a guy that knows. He said yes. I went and did it. That's it. I don't know why that's so difficult for some people. If your doctor says no, don't do it. If he says yes, go ahead and do it. Fuck, I don't know. But I digress. I don't want to get into all that again because I'm fucking over it. I'm just done. Get COVID, I don't give a fuck. That's just the way I feel about it.
Well, I think I don't know. It is just like the whole Antonio Brown thing is just incredibly stupid because he's a fucking idiot.
He's been a professional idiot for several years, and this was just like, of all the people in the NFL, it's like, yeah, he'd be the one to do that. Sure.
Right. I was just going to say, if you had to go to the Buccaneers and go, okay, one guy on this team is going to get busted for using a fake vaccine card, everybody's going to go, it's going to be Antonio Brown. We all know it.
And for some reason, Bruce Arians keeps stepping up to the plate to defend him, and it's like,
They literally have no one else at wide receivers.
I know, but there are other guys that will catch a football. It doesn't have to be him.
Boys, I've been seeing this since as long as I can remember in the NFL. Especially if you've got injury issues, if you can play, we'll overlook an awful lot. I mean,
Greg,
and a fake vaccine card's nothing compared to some of the shit they've overlooked. Believe me.
The Buccaneers signed Le'Veon Bell for the week.
Really?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he started. He even got he got a few runs.
Yeah,
wow.
he was one of their main backs. It's incredible.
What a shit show this season's been at certain points. I mean, everything was it me? Or was everything kind of chugging along pretty good until about week 12? And all of a sudden, it was like, wait a minute, here we go.
Well, I think the first sign of danger was the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, where he's like, I didn't get vaccinated because I took my medical advice from Joe Rogan, and then it just snowballed from there, and now everyone's fucking.
But that's my point exactly. Why would you go to Joe Rogan instead of say doctor whoever the fuck your doctor is?
Well, because Aaron Rodgers is, I'm going to guess, an idiot and just fell into some bad information. And
but he's not an idiot. He's made that clear.
Well, he wants somebody that's going to tell it to you straight. That's not going to be swayed by X, Y. I don't know, man. It's just
you guys
to get into the headspace of the people that go to the Joe Rogans of the world for advice is a headspace I don't want to live in. Well, it's not.
That's what I mean.
And if you look into it, his girlfriend's nuts too. So that probably
she's big into the holistic medicine.
Well, yeah, okay. That holistic medicine's fine until you actually need to take some real medicine. Then you better go to an actual fucking doctor and take real chemicals and all the other stuff. But I don't know. It just escapes me. It's like it seems like a really simple solution. Ask your doctor. And there are doctors out there that under the right circumstances will say to you, you know what, it's not a good idea for you. Or maybe it's not necessary for you. But just go off and go, well, Joe Rogan took ivermectin and he's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's the people that go to the Joe Rogans of the world are the ones that want to hear what they want to hear. He already had his opinion on what he wanted to do and not do for whatever reason or another. And he wanted to find somebody that was going to tell him not to do it. So he didn't do it.
Well, okay, fine. I don't understand it, but whatever. It just seems like such a simple solution to me. Just go to your doctor, talk to your doctor. First off, they've got all your health records, which is a real benefit, I would think, in a situation like this, and see what they have to say about it. And I know my doctor has told people that, under this, like with the conditions they have and stuff, that they shouldn't get it. Okay, fair enough. If a doctor tells you not to get it, then that's good, right? I mean, I don't see any benefit to telling somebody not to get it.
Yeah. Again, you have to put everything that Aaron Rodgers thought into context of, as soon as someone made fun of him, he declared that it was the woke mob coming after him. So that's the headspace that he was in.
I didn't see I haven't seen the woke mob out there complaining about too many NFL players, but all right, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, let's not get down that rabbit hole again. Like I said, fuck COVID. I'm done with it. They can do what they want. I don't really care. I just don't.
Some other players who don't care are the NHL players who aren't going to go to the Olympics.
Yeah,
I don't. I honestly can't blame them under the circumstances. Honestly, I mean, if they're still doing what was it? You said 3 weeks, Zach, that they had.
In the Chinese rules are if you test positive there, it's a 3-week quarantine from when you test positive.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'm disappointed because hockey's one of my favorite things about the Winter Olympics. But they'll still play it. We just won't get our guys in it. But
no, it'll be the same situation as 4 years ago, where you get these scab teams of nobodies and college kids and guys that are recently out of the NHL but not retired. And then the Russian team will be all KHL dudes.
Right.
And
the U.S. team is going to be comprised of guys like the Toledo Walleye and the University.
Well, no, it's I believe last time it was half college kids and half like AAA guys.
Yeah.
Like guys that are on NHL contracts that are at the AHL level can't go.
So you're looking at basically like
contract other NHL teams,
like a baseball analogy. You're looking at like the guys that are in Major League camp but aren't part of the 40-man roster, essentially.
Given the restrictions, we talked about the 3-week thing, but like China's way of dealing with COVID tests is borderline draconian. I sent you guys an article from The Economist that my boyfriend actually.
I read the first 3 paragraphs and then it asked me to subscribe. And
here's the thing. You don't actually have to subscribe. You can, you just have to create an account. You don't actually have to pay for anything, and you get the full article just if you have an account. I'm not subscribed to The Economist. I just have an account, so I read it for free.
Well, frankly, Mike, I'm disappointed. I was like, Mike's a classy guy. He's got a subscription.
I hate to break it to you. No, I'm not subscribed to The Economist. No.
I had a college class that made me subscribe to The Economist and read it every week, and oh boy.
Yeah.
it was quite the semester.
When I went to the University of Toledo, we had to subscribe to the fucking Wall Street Journal. Which I mean, back then I'm like, I don't want to read any of this. Come on.
Yeah,
But
like the premise of it was interesting though, Mike, because I think these Olympics might be a breaking point in that way to a degree, not to any ultimate like reckoning or anything, but it's making people kind of look China more directly in the face about how it treats
Everyone.
everybody, right? And even just stuff like the Olympics. So when it gets to like sports fans, we can look at the Olympics like, oh, I understand the Olympics. I don't like that, and then kind of change your opinion.
Yeah, like basically China had a degree of goodwill maybe 5 years ago that they've quickly burnt through, and now a lot of people are just finally starting to see that the single party authoritarian dictatorship isn't that great.
Well,
I'm floored by that revelation.
I think the Uyghur thing is what really kind of set it off.
Right?
Maybe not set it off, but like really drove it home, because they could spin that however they wanted to, but we aren't. I mean, most people aren't idiots, even in America. They're smart enough to go, this doesn't look quite right, and I think that was what really, I hope, turned the tides, because that, that's some awful shit. And you're not going to convince me those people were just in these camps. I think that a lot of them were just eliminated, I mean, I can be wrong about that. It's one of those things where I go, I can't prove it, but I know it's true type deals.
I mean,
makes enough sense.
I mean, I fucking grew up listening to the stories of Holocaust survivors. You start talking about shipping an ethnic minority off to camps, and then you don't see them again. Read history book, people. This is not new stuff.
Well, wasn't they like people like to say, or historians like to say that maybe they don't, maybe I just heard it wrong, but is it like history echoes or something like that, or history crimes? I can't remember the exact
well, I mean, Winston Churchill had the famous quote of, if you forget history, you're doomed to repeat it, which essentially is like, well, the one I've heard is that history is ultimately the study of human behavior, and if you
I'd go along with that.
If you know your history, then it gives you a better context for understanding what's happening in your present, because it's not necessarily that it rhymes or it echoes, but it people are people, and chances are if someone's doing something today, it's been done before, and you can use that context to understand it better. And in the case of what China's doing, it's kind of terrifying when you understand the history of ethnic cleansing, deportations, camps, and all that stuff.
And these are just they're Chinese people, right? I mean, their ethnicity is Chinese, right?
Well, that's kind of it gets complicated, because China's always been a multi-ethnic state that desperately wants to pretend it's not.
It's you know where in China this is, Greg? Like geographically?
Not exactly, no.
Western.
It's in the northwestern part. So it's like the parts that border Kazakhstan and southern Russia.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
It's out there on the plains.
So they just basically it is just like a cleansing, in other words. Then
it looks a lot like it.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, odds are it's probably a duck.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to juxtapose something this serious with kind of petty sports bullshit, but at the same time, I think another thing that kind of that came up with this was the NBA, right?
I was just going to bring up the NBA.
When the Houston Rockets GM criticized the People's Republic of China for how they treated protesters in Hong Kong, and then you had the NBA sort of cowering to China on that, and I think a lot of people saw that, and I'm not saying it started I'm not saying it started anything definitively, but I think it got people thinking about it critically, and then you have more instances like this, with the Olympics probably being one of the final straws where people are just sort of starting to come around to the idea that, yeah, this is not a good situation.
Well, I agree. I mean, I know we're doing a diplomatic boycott. I don't even know what that means.
So there are two types of ways that you can. Okay, so a full boycott in the Olympics is what the Americans and the Soviets did to each other in like during the Cold War, where you
1984, right? Yeah,
where you just go like, we're not sending anyone.
right.
The people, there have been people who are critical of that approach. Being one, they say that the competition of sport should be above politics.
Yeah, the athletes didn't do anything. They want to go.
Yeah. And then it's like it's what Zach said. The athletes didn't do anything, and a lot of athletes, they've been training for these Olympics for, in some cases, a decade. Before any of these issues even came up, and they've been training to be at their prime for these Olympics, and it's unfair in that degree to be like, oh, well, you can't go for reasons that are entirely beyond your control. So a diplomatic boycott is where the athletes still go, but the United States doesn't send any political representatives to hobnob with the Chinese officials.
Okay, well, that's fair.
So
it's ultimately kind of meaningless, but
yeah.
I mean,
symbolic.
It's a symbolic gesture, I would say. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I mean, the NBA and China thing, that's just, I don't. I mean, I get it. They're a huge partner. They're just a monumental revenue stream. But come on, I mean, when you see the thing like what's happening with the Uyghurs and you don't say a fucking word. I mean, when like the village idiot goes, "Hey, this is wrong," but not the NBA. Come on, man.
Yeah, well, it's like Mike said. Like China had goodwill 5 years ago,
right?
And that was when everyone started making all their business plays into that. And time has passed, and everyone's a little too invested in what's going on, so they can't.
If I'm being honest, though, I mean, if I've got like hundreds of millions of dollars pouring into my pocket from there, I'm not going to sit here and go, well, I'm still going to make a statement. Probably wouldn't, to be honest. I mean, that's a lot of money. Doesn't make it right, but I guess I'm saying I don't condone it, but I understand, sort of.
Right.
I don't know. It's fucked. The whole thing's fucked. That's the way I look at it.
But all the way back to the NHL not going,
right?
It's the thing that we didn't want to talk about to start the podcast again, but here we're talking about it eventually. COVID's still around.
Yeah,
more games were postponed. Like the NHL delayed its return by a day just to make sure that all the tests were in line and try to get games done. And what do you know? They came back from the holiday break with more positive tests, so more games are going to get moved around at some point.
Well, I'd also read too that the 3-week break, by not going to the Olympics, is going to help them with this. So I guess there's some benefit
to a degree, because the problem is there's a lot of these arenas that operated under the assumption that they were going.
Yeah.
So they booked them up with concerts. So there's not as many free dates as they thought they were going to have.
Sorry, Green Day. The Nashville Predators need the arena. Oh God. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting situation. I think honestly they should just straight up take the 3 weeks off, get everyone healthy, give people time to, I guess, isolate and all that stuff. Like, I don't know, like.
Well, the problem is now they have all this. They already have basically what's a week and a half, 2 weeks of games that they need to reschedule at some point anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it sounds like they're just going to try to fill in the dates where they can. And what they might end up doing, from what I understand too, is you might just have to change some of the game, like change the opponents that were being scheduled. Because the other problem that you have to run into now, that in the NHL more than any of the other leagues, is the border. And if things continue to be where they are or even get worse, Canada's not going to want people coming over and back all the time, just like they did last year.
Right.
So you may have to end, like the NHL says that it's still committed to getting a full 82 game schedule. So what might happen is, if for the Ducks case, say they were supposed to play Vancouver a couple times, and all of a sudden the Canucks can no longer come across the border, well, then they fill in those games with 2 extra dates against the Sharks or something like that.
What if
So the schedule would end up being unbalanced, but everybody would get to 82 games?
What if the Ducks end up trapped in Canada when the border closes down, and we have to bring back the Canadian division, but it's the Canadian division plus the Ducks?
Well,
that would be
not
fucking
be fun.
awesome. Are you kidding me?
No, that would be terrible.
Okay, so the Ducks are temporarily going to play out of Saskatoon.
Right, yeah. Come on.
Well, that's exactly why they
sent.
sent. That's exactly why they sent everybody. They closed they canceled all the cross border games last week.
Yeah,
because they didn't want that to happen. Like they didn't want one of these teams to get quarantined and everybody be stuck in Canada for Christmas.
Oh,
it's a weird spot to be in, and of course,
congratulations, and the Anaheim Ducks of Cornwall, Ontario.
But I think a positive move is the adjustment of the COVID protocols for all 3 of the leagues that are going on right now: NFL, NBA, and NHL, where they're basically taking away, they're lowering the quarantine time, and they're taking away some of the testing requirements for fully vaccinated guys, unless they're showing symptoms, which is probably the way to go at this point. I mean, it sounds weird to say, but we're at a point where you just kind of have to play through it.
Right. Well, unfortunately, though, if what they're saying about Omicron is true, then we couldn't have picked I mean, this is a good time to actually just play through it, because from everything I've read is it's not nearly as nasty as Delta or. Oh, by the way, we did a Bass Twitter poll, and everyone voted unanimously that COVID Classic would be what we would be calling the original strain.
Amazing. Yes.
COVID Classic. Yeah. So I think it's pretty good. But Omicron, if it is as mild as they say it is, this is actually a very, very good thing, because it'll burn through quickly because it's so transmissible, and God willing, we'll be done with it after that. Hopefully. I mean, crazier things have happened, but you never know. So who knows? It's just yeah.
But I mean, we talked a little bit about it last week, where it's like the reporting of breakthrough cases made more hysteria than needed to, and so people are kind of overreacting. But I think we've all come around on the other side of it now, where people finally may have recognized that to a degree,
right? Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, because they're public faces, if they test positive, they get put on a list, and you have to know that for roster purposes. But otherwise, it's just like, well, guy got put on the COVID list, sucks, but because who's his backup then? What do we do now? And you just kind of move forward, and like the NHL is bringing back taxi squads through the All-Star break,
which is amazing, by the way, because earlier in the year, the deputy commissioner of the NHL was asked during an intermission interview on Hockey Night in Canada, "Are we going to bring back taxi squads?" And he said no.
Well, there's been a lot of questions that were asked that were answered one way, say 2 years ago or a year ago or 6 months ago, and they're getting answers differently now. So that's to be expected in a constantly liquid situation like this, I would think. But taxi squads, was it like a practice team, like the NFL's a practice?
Basically, five extra guys. Yeah.
All right. Do we still have the goalie in the stands, like the emergency goalie guy?
Well, now there's an extra goalie on most guys will have an extra goalie on the taxi squad.
The reason they call them taxi squads is back in the day, these guys would follow the teams around in taxis.
Right, not enough room on the bus.
But now we have no shot of I mean, I guess we still have a shot, but it would take a real disaster. But like the guy coming out of the stands, like the guy did for was it Carolina last year?
Or like the accountant, the Blackhawks accountant goalie.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that could still it's lesser now because of that, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen.
Well, that's too bad. I think more of that is better, is the way I look at it.
Yeah. But ultimately, I think the thing that's also cropped up in the last couple of days regarding the NHL and the Olympics, you're getting a lot of guys now that are, because they've you have some of the best players in this generation will have gone 2 full Olympic cycles without being able to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so now the support for the World Cup has suddenly grown in the last couple of
yes,
days.
the World Cup of that prestigious.
The
event.
thing
Well,
that we
right.
made fun of when they first came up with it, now it's all of a sudden relevant.
Right. Well, I think it's
Team North America under 23.
if it's a situation though where like these guys aren't going to the Olympics anymore and they really want to go, the NHL could just say no Olympics ever again, and we're going to commit to making the World Cup something important.
Yeah, but they've already said
the same way that it is in soccer.
But they've already said we're going to commit to making the World Cup something important, and they still haven't done it regularly since then.
Well, right, because then they got unfortunately we got COVID, and then the Olympics discussion came back up, but I think it's a thing if the league officially says, hey, you know what, you guys really want to have this tournament, we're going to take the Olympics off the table and just make it our own, and then work it into the season as we would in Olympics. I don't see that can't be a good thing, because like it's different than say like the World Baseball Classic, where you trying to do it during training camp. It doesn't work, because that's the way they tried to do the other World Cups too, right? Where they were playing in like September, and it's just like it doesn't work. So I think if they're gonna do it, they have to do it like this. You know,
go Team Generic Europe.
Mike, can we figure out a way to move the Ducks to Cornwall and make them part of this? Like,
of course we can.
Okay, because that's our answer right there. That's how we do this.
Please stop trying to move my hockey team.
But yeah,
the World Cup, Zach. That's all. It's just a temporary thing. We just want to have that.
We would get smoked in the World Cup. No, thank you.
I don't know. Like the World, I'm just at the point with the World Cup of hockey where I'll believe it's going to be a regular committed thing when it actually becomes a committed regular thing.
Right.
But they've been talking about doing
they had
this
the opportunity
forever.
to do it. They had the opportunity to do it over the last 8 years and didn't. So,
and the one time they did it, they had 2 bullshit teams in there, and it was just
That's what I mean.
Because they tried to do it like on the fly.
Like the North American under 23 team, we'll just put them in Cornwall.
If they put the right amount of like thought and prep into this,
yeah, but this is the NHL.
Yeah, I think what they need to do is work. If they're gonna do it, they have to like make it an IHF event where you legitimately like. And I don't know if the IHF would ever want to do that because they love the World Championships over in Europe. But if you make like a legitimate World Cup, maybe. I mean, again, it works in soccer just fine. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't even be talking about this if they could just. If there was no COVID and they were going to the Olympics. So,
yeah. Well, we'll find out. I mean, where are the Olympics at? And what would it be? 2026?
I don't believe they've actually been announced yet.
Yeah.
Can we maybe, I'm just going to throw this out there as a suggestion, maybe not put them in, like authoritarian states. They
didn't have a choice. Norway told the IOC to fuck off.
Yeah. Oh no, the 2026 is in Milan.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Italy.
Milan, Italy. Yeah.
That'll work.
I just saw House of Gucci too, so.
How was that?
Oh, it's bad.
Is it bad? Okay.
It's a lot of good actors doing cartoonishly bad Italian accents.
Oh wow, okay.
Like I love Adam Driver. Adam Driver should not be doing Italian accent.
Nah, probably not.
What, you don't like the House of Gucci?
Oh my god.
Oh
fucking,
my gosh. Get the piece of pie out of the oven. Yeah. I haven't seen it either, but I wanted to, and I've not heard a single good word about it.
No, the bad thing about it is not only is it bad, but it's like long, so you got to deal with that.
Sure.
I much preferred Spider-Man: Rise of the Spider-Men.
Very good.
What's that on?
Pardon?
What is that on? Or is it a movie?
It's a movie.
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yeah.
I thought you were talking. I thought there was like a different Spider-Man movie you were referring to.
No, I was just being cute with the title.
Okay.
I don't know. I take it you haven't seen it, Greg?
Not yet. No.
Uh,
Greg's still not entirely comfortable going back to a movie theater, if I'm being completely honest. So it's just going to be, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to make up a bullshit excuse. I went to a concert, and I think tomorrow will be 2 weeks. So I'm like, okay, made it through the concert, but I'm working my way back. Just give me a little time on it here.
But yeah, it was. But yeah, Spider-Man was fun. Especially if you have nostalgia for the Sam Raimi movies.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, this movie did a lot of goodwill for Andrew Garfield.
His movies,
yeah, because he's kind of gotten slipped under the rug here a little bit.
Yeah, and they kind of toy with that a bit in some fun ways.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good. I recommend it to anybody that has liked a superhero movie in the last 20 years.
I recommend it if you like Spider-Man.
I told you guys I watched the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Not great, but I think of the DC movies I've seen, I enjoyed it the most. Put it that way. Well, other than Batman, obviously, but that I don't even count like the Batman trilogy as part of the rest of that bullshit.
Well, it's not really. I mean, the Nolan movies were never really connected to.
But you always have to kind of preface it with, except for the Batman movies, and it's like, let's just separate those out and assume that if I'm saying,
well, there's going to be a new Batman movie coming up.
Yeah,
March 4th, right? Another trailer dropped today, and
is it as nasty as the first couple?
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Just violent fights and extra serial killer vibes from Riddler, and some real mystery going on with the Waynes and the Wayne family. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the comics run of the Court of Owls, but I think that's where they're leaning with this.
Well,
stuff.
I
kind of like old Gotham, old money, Illuminati stuff, which is
lovely.
Fun.
Oh god! So if we're gonna have old Gotham, old money, it kind of seems like Spider-Man: No Way Home. J. Jonah Jameson should be in that movie then.
You're gonna buy any of his supplements?
Daily Bugle supplements. Jesus.
All right, so obviously we've got like multiple timelines coming together in this movie. I think I've pretty much been able to.
Like if you see the trailers for No Way Home, that's pretty clear. Yeah.
All right, is J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons in every one?
Well, no, there's just the current universe J.K. Simmons.
Oh.
But it is funny though that like J. Jonah Jameson is the only character to be played by the same actor in the entire multiverse.
Yeah.
Does that make him like the singular linchpin of creation? Like
he's J. Jonah Jameson is a singularity.
Yeah,
he exists in every reality.
There can't be more than one, so it's just the same. I don't know how he pulls it off, but yeah, he's the same one in every single one.
But yeah, I don't know. That is interesting. I haven't seen the new Batman trailer, but if they're doing interesting kind of old money Gotham stuff with the Waynes, then like they kind of leaned into that in Joker.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sort of. But it's not. It's a little bit different because Joker is just such this one-off
weird
thing.
Itself.
Yeah, I would say that this doesn't have like any relationship to that at all. But there is the old money Gotham stuff kind of happening in the background.
So all I'm saying right now is that we better see an opening scene where Bruce's parents are at like some eyes wide shut orgy shit. That's what old money rich people do, right? Like,
I guess.
Sure.
Hey, it's gonna be better than watching them get shot in the beginning of a movie for the 50th time.
Yeah, that would be a nice change of pace. Like if they they keeled over from like some bad drugs in the orgy scene or something, that would be a different direction for sure.
And the drug was called Chill, and it was handed to him by a guy named Joe. Yeah.
Oh my god.
No,
oh my god.
I think it should be called Focus myself, but that's just me. at the TB12 focus and just have a little inside reference, a little Bass inside reference there. That would be nice. But
Tom Brady is the I don't know, Tom Brady's secret villain in the Batman universe.
Well, he's a secret villain everywhere else. Might as well.
Let's see.
Well, yeah, I have to go see Spider-Man No Way Home. I'll just have to find a way to do it. I might have to just wrap myself in plastic and go because it sounds really good.
I mean, it's already made $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, speaking of China, it made $1 billion without opening in China. So that's impressive.
Yeah, screw you,
know what
China.
I'll do? I'll wait until
keep our movies
next week after New Year's, and I'll go like to one of the early matinee showings when there's like nobody there. That's what I'll do. There we go. Yeah. That way I don't have to breathing on me.
Yeah. No. You waiting would probably be good if you don't want to.
I just don't. I shouldn't. I mean, I could do it. It's like.
I'm just saying theaters are going to be packed for this one for a while.
Yeah, and I don't mind being in a like 3/4 full theater. I don't want to be sitting like in the midst of a bunch of people. I don't know.
Also, if you're a fan of William Dafoe, this is the movie for you. So,
is he back as the Green Goblin?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, good. Spoiler alert, by the way.
Well, he's in the
trailers.
So. Okay, well then never mind.
I limit spoilers to things that if it's in the trailer, then sorry you didn't see it, but it was out there for everyone to look at.
What was it you said last week, Mike? The Thanos sex scene was tastefully done.
Yeah, the Thanos sex scene was, the full frontal nudity on Thanos was, some might say crass, but I thought it was artistically done.
Well, that's all that matters in those things. But no, I have to go see it. What did I watch the other day? It was one of those Amazon, the Ricky Ricardo movie was actually pretty good, believe it or not.
Yeah, I saw after seeing Spider-Man, I also saw the new West Side Story.
How's that?
It's phenomenal.
Really?
Like I legitimately think it is better than the original.
Cool.
Like the original, while an American classic, is it's I understand it's a musical and singing and dancing, but it's a little weird when you have the toughest gang in New York snapping and spinning at each other.
Yeah.
But they make it more aggressive in this version where they are kind of tough by snapping around and kind of flaunting in each other's face. And then because it's the old version was, of course, the cameras were static and it was on a stage. And with the new one, the camera movements are more dynamic. You can kind of get in and around this New York that they've created that's a little bit more real. All the characters have a bit more. You understand why they are who they are and why they.
So what you're saying is that Steven Spielberg is good at making movies.
Yeah, pretty much. and the fact they actually cast Puerto Ricans to play Puerto Ricans in this movie, which is
what?
Yeah, probably a better idea.
I have heard that
Mrs. Natalie Wood.
I've heard that a lot of the dialogue is actually in Spanish.
Spanish with no subtitles. Yeah,
I heard about the no subtitles thing too. I got to go back to Dennis for a second here. He says that in being the Ricardos, his wife's a Lucy fan, and she had issues with it. I don't know what those issues are, but it's an Aaron Sorkin movie, so you're probably
lots of walking. Were there hallway walking scenes?
I don't recall any.
Lucy, follow me down this hallway. We need to talk.
But I don't think you're going to get an accurate depiction of Lucille Ball from Aaron Sorkin because he's Aaron Sorkin, and I don't know.
It's kind of odd subject matter for him, to be perfectly honest.
Well, the Ricardo or Lucy and Ricky and
didn't expect him to tackle that, but okay.
Yeah, it was kind of an odd choice for him, I thought too. But I thought it was. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was great, but it's worth watching. Let's see what's it say here. Well, yeah, he played it really loose with the timelines, no question about that. I mean, he kind of consolidated everything into 1 week when the actual events had taken place over like 3 years. But I thought, what's his name, Bardem? I thought he did a great job. He wasn't like the embodiment of Desi Arnaz, but I thought he did a really good job in it. And Nicole Kidman surprised me. I didn't think she would be as good as Lucy as she was, but she was all right. So, again, I'd give it a solid. If we're doing 5 stars, I'd give it 3.
Speaking of movies, Roland Emmerich has come out with another the world blows up movie.
Oh, cool. What's this one called?
The moon is going to crash in.
Oh,
No,
is he's doing that moon movie?
Yep.
Oh my god! I saw the trailer for that, and I was like it's like I understand these sci-fi disaster movies don't make sense like scientifically, but like if the moon even ever moved closer to the Earth by 100 feet, we'd all die. Like
it would be really bad. Really bad.
We would die instantaneously. So this idea that the moon is going to like fall apart and slowly come down to Earth, like no. We'd be dead.
I also love how like in the trailer they imply that like the moon is out of orbit, but only one rogue scientist knows, and it's no. I'm pretty sure if like
people would notice the moon.
Like if the moon went out of orbit, I'm pretty sure everyone would figure it out.
I think like the drunk people like sitting out in front of the carryout would figure it out. They're like, hey, what's with the moon tonight? Yeah.
Yeah, no. So when I saw the trailer for that movie, I went, that looks like a fucking Roland Emmerich movie. So I hit up Wikipedia, and yep, it's a Roland Emmerich movie.
Well, that's good and bad. It's good that his stuff's so recognizable, but it might be bad that it's so recognizable too.
I don't know. He's like a worse Michael Bay.
Wow. That's wow.
Yeah, here's the premise as written on Wikipedia, by the way.
He's
a mysterious force knocks the moon from its orbit around Earth and sends it hurtling on a collision course with life as we knew it. With mere weeks before impact and the world on the brink of annihilation, this NASA person is convinced that she's the key to saving us all, but only one astronaut from her past and a conspiracy theorist believe her. These unlikely heroes will mount an impossible last-ditch mission to space, leaving behind everything they love, only to find out that our moon is not what we think it is.
Oh, is it a spaceship of some sort? I bet you it is.
Let's take bets. What's it going to be?
Spaceship. Or a base of some sort.
No. I'm going to go with Cosmic Egg for the turtle.
By the way, starring Halle Berry as the NASA scientist and former astronaut.
Okay. Roland Emmerich, he's the guy that did like 2012, The Year We All Die, and
he did White House Down.
Yeah.
Well, he did Independence Day though too, right?
Independence Day, Godzilla, The Day After Tomorrow, 2012. I was
trying to think of, yeah.
White House Down, Independence Day 2.
Any goodwill he got from Independence Day should be countered by he also did Independence Day 2.
Yeah. Oh my God, I tried to watch that. I couldn't get through it. I was like,
So Will Smith isn't going to do it. So who do we have? Baby Thor? Okay.
I was just like, this fucking sucks, and I turned it off after like 20 minutes. I couldn't even get through it. It was, but yeah. The moon, like Zach said, if the moon somehow gets out of orbit by like even 100 feet, we're really fucked.
Or if for some reason the moon wasn't the moon as this movie is suggesting, that would also cause plenty of issues. I don't know. That's just me just thinking out loud here.
If it is going to be, if the moon is going to be a secret alien spaceship, then they should at least get Ancient Aliens guy for a cameo.
Oh, absolutely, but I think it's going to be an alien base, Mike, not a ship. It's too big to just be a ship.
I'm sticking with it's going to be a cosmic egg. That's what I'm thinking.
All right.
I think Roland Emmerich in his old age is going to get like very spiritual.
Or maybe he's a GTOV fan and he's like, I'm doing this, and nobody's going to know why.
You know what? If it gives birth to the cosmic turtle, and at the end it says this film's been dedicated to the glorious tournament of victory, like I will stand up and applaud.
Yeah, and we will never do another fucking show again because that'll be as good as it ever gets. Right?
Yeah.
We'll just come on and go, thank you, good night, and that's the end of that. We told you, assholes, that it was going to be.
Oh God! But yeah, like I don't know, fucking. It's one of these these disaster movies. I'm kind of over it. Like you can watch every single one since Independence Day, which kind of kicked off the trend. And Independence Day was fun, but every one of them that's happened since, like, they just get dumber. Just get more dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean they peaked with Armageddon, and everything else has been less.
Well, Armageddon is dumb, but it's gloriously dumb.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the word. It's like the best bad movie you'll ever see.
Space dementia.
Yeah.
He's got space dementia.
No, let's find the best oil rig crew around. Send them on a rocket ship.
Yeah, on a
to an
multi-billion-dollar
asteroid.
spaceship.
And nuke it from the inside.
You guys have heard the Ben Affleck story about that?
I know he did some funny stuff on the commentary on the DVD.
So he went up during the filming of Armageddon. He went up to Michael Bay and said, "Wouldn't it be easier to train astronauts to dig than to train like oil riggers to be astronauts?" Michael Bay looked at him for like one long quiet moment and then just said, "Shut up," and walked away.
I mean, for once, Ben Affleck not wrong.
Yeah,
right. Space. Is space dementia even a thing? I said that. I'm like,
I don't know. No, Steve Buscemi had it when he was
right
on like the Gatling gun on the asteroid.
When he was doing his best. What was that guy, Slim Pickens from? What was that movie? Never mind. It's like an old movie that I can't even remember. But yeah, Armageddon was wild. It was just so stupid, but so much fun.
And of course, coming out the same year as Deep Impact, so double the asteroids, double the fun. That was one of those weird times. Like that happens every so often, where two similar movies come out. Ants and A Bug's Life. That was another one.
Well, it was White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Michael Walker. I couldn't remember the name of it. Dr. Strangelove. That's what I was referring to.
And then there was a few years back. There were two.
Is it Volcano and Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, right. Yep. And then a few years back, there were two like modernized versions of Snow White that came out at the same time.
Yes, right.
And it's like, really, there was really a competition in Hollywood for the for who was going to get a Snow White movie out first. All right,
sure,
yeah,
why not?
It's happened a lot over the years. It's like a trend. Like, oh, well, so and so is successful at this, and now we'll try our version of it.
I remember actually being a little kid and seeing Deep Impact and Armageddon both in theaters, and just liking Armageddon so much more.
Yeah. Armageddon had a lot of really good actors in it too. I mean, Billy Bob Thornton, Bruce Willis, Michael Duncan Clark, Steve Buscemi. A good cast can like take a bad movie and make it at least fun. I think that's kind of what they did with Armageddon.
Well, Deep Impact tried to play the premise very serious, and it was very melodramatic, whereas Armageddon was just like, America, fuck yeah, asteroid! And it's like...
These fucking rednecks are going to go and blow up the asteroid and we'll all be saved. There, that's the movie.
And, yeah, basically. And then they played the Team America theme, like, over it. But, like, I don't know, it's... Speaking of Ben Affleck and bad Ridley Scott movies, Last Duel. Did anyone see that?
No.
I didn't. I heard it was good, though. And people just didn't go see it for whatever reason.
It's interesting. The problem is because of some of the choices that they made, there actually isn't a protagonist, which makes it very hard to get behind. The closest you get is the woman who was raped, but due to the way that the medieval French legal system worked, which is kind of part of the plot, is that she has no agency herself to do anything about it. And then so you'd think Matt Damon's character, who is her husband, who fights on her behalf, would be the protagonist, but then they make him a douchebag too? And it's just sort of like, so who am I rooting for? Exactly.
Wait, is this that movie about the Oklahoma guy that goes to France?
No. It's the it's called The Last Duel. It's about the last legal duel in France.
Oh, okay.
It takes place in like the 1300s. Yeah, Ben Affleck is in it. He plays a French noble.
Okay.
And he's dyed his hair and a goatee blonde, and he looks like a Final Fantasy villain. I don't know. Ridley Scott's. Ridley. I don't know, man. You don't have it anymore. You just don't.
He's lost his fastball.
I loved Kingdom of Heaven, but just no.
Well, I'm going to shift gears here because I just thought of this and I wanted to bring it up tonight. We talked about the bowl games last week. Do you guys know that every bowl game so far on ESPN and everywhere else this year has gotten at least 1 million viewers, which surprised the hell out of me, if I'm being honest.
Well, and you wonder why NBC and Fox are willing to give spring football another go, right? Because you look at this and it's like, obviously Americans love their football, so why not?
I mean, Toledo playing whoever they played in the Bahamas Bowl got 1 million viewers, which I'm astonished by that.
Well, because here's the thing. It got 1 million viewers because it was football that was on.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Football and it was on. But yeah, I saw that story and I thought that's amazing to me because, we always talk. I mean, for years we've talked about there's too many bowl games. Does anybody watch these things? Well, it turns out, yeah, they do.
In the NFL, we've talked about how useless the Pro Bowl is, but at the same time, it draws huge ratings. So,
and then it beats the World Series in the ratings, and you go, well, okay,
yeah. But
no, and then there was what was it? The Sun Bowl, which is I'd say a mid-level bowl, probably, Zach, the Sun Bowl.
Yeah. It's under the New Year's bowls for sure, but not the
above the Bahamas and the the Duke's Mayonnaise Bowls and all those.
Right.
Anyway, one of the teams, which team was it that's out?
Miami's
out because of COVID.
Yeah, Miami had to pull out of that. Hawaii pulled out of the Hawaii Bowl, which was kind of funny because they did it the day of the game. So Memphis got like a free trip to Hawaii for the week.
Yeah. They're probably in practice all week. We're like, hey, we're here. And,
University of Hawaii even mentioned that in the release where they pulled out. They said, they even mentioned like, and congratulations, Memphis, on your trip to Hawaii. We hope you enjoyed our state or something.
But yeah, so I heard that they were going to they're going to try to replace Miami for that game. Is that anything happen with that?
I've heard that with a couple of these bowls, they were looking for other teams to stand in, but I haven't seen anybody actually get replaced in any of these things. So
somebody was saying, I might have been on the boards, I don't remember where I saw this, but that maybe SMU would be able to slide into that slot for the Sun Bowl.
I'm pulling it up right now just to look if anybody's jumped into these things.
The UCF Knights defeated the Florida Gators in the Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah, I was one of the 1 million+ people that watched that one. So
due to this victory, UCF has once again claimed another national title.
Yeah, because I think they're talking about SMU, Greg, because the Wasabi Fenway Bowl was canceled.
So they're available. So they literally are. They've been practicing, and they could actually just kind of step in and go to a different bowl.
believe that is the idea. Yeah. So currently the bowls are not canceled. You have the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl has Washington State listed as versus TBD. Or sorry, that's the Sun. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl is Washington State versus TBD. And then unfortunately, Arizona had to drop out of the Barstool Bowl.
Oh no.
Yeah, the Barstool Arizona Bowl. So
one bowl that not 1 million people were going to watch because it's not even on television.
Well, Barstool is apparently streaming it because nobody else would.
I'm a little surprised. I'm kind of a lot surprised that a bowl game would take them as a full name sponsor. I really am.
So was the Arizona Republic, I believe it was, that wrote a big story about it this week.
Whatever. If you're into Barstool Sports, that's fine and all that, and go, more power to you. But as far as like a broad appeal brand name, I don't know that they have that. I think that they appeal to a very specific set of people and a very specific mindset and a very specific personality. And if you are not one of those three, I don't know what you're doing here. You're not here, but with them, because it's kind of I think it's a cesspool, but that's just me.
Yeah. It wasn't the Arizona paper that did that. It was the Idaho paper, because Boise State was supposed to play in it, and Boise State was the team that had to pull out too because of COVID. But I think, in some of these situations, and I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody necessarily, but Texas A&M had to drop out of the Gator Bowl, I believe it was, against no, it wasn't the Gator Bowl. They were supposed to play Wake Forest in some bowl.
Right.
It was the Gator Bowl, and so Rutgers is filled in for Texas A&M in that game. So congratulations, Rutgers, on making a bowl game.
Now the two Rutgers Knights.
Yeah, right. But Texas A&M, their starting quarterback entered the transfer portal. They had 2 linemen that were out with injuries. They had a wide receiver and a defensive end or whatever opt out of the game for the draft. And it was one of those things where like they lost a whole bunch of players, and it just seemed awfully convenient that they got COVID when they got COVID.
Yeah, that does sound a little convenient.
So I mean, I don't want to say that some of these teams are pulling out of these games for not necessarily COVID, but it may not be the worst thing for some of these teams.
So you're saying it's not breaking their hearts that they're pulling out of these games? Like,
I don't think so. No.
Okay. But yeah, I saw the Sun Bowl, and I want to say it was like somebody on the boards that said that SMU was there and available, because I didn't know that their game had been canceled too.
Yeah, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl not being played.
Oh, gee, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Who was that? But was SMU against who in that? Do we even know?
That was SMU versus Virginia.
So doesn't that make Virginia available now too?
I don't know which one of them got COVID.
Oh, right. One of them has to be not available because they got. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But then again, though, I mean, if you cancel it, I don't know when the game was, but like, if you can pass
the game was supposed to be Wednesday.
Oh, so hasn't been played yet.
Right.
Man, the Russians are just all over us tonight, guys. They must be doing pretty. They don't understand a word we're saying, but they seem to be enjoying it.
Yeah.
Had to block another one.
I don't know.
Well, I guess we have some picks to make, but before we do the NFL picks, we do have the college football semifinals.
I was just going to bring that up, so I'm glad you did.
Let's hear this sham.
You got Cincinnati taking on Alabama in the Cotton Bowl.
Oh, gee, it's going to be a fucking bloodbath.
And Georgia, Michigan in the Orange Bowl.
Huh. Should we pick these?
Sure.
All right. Which one of us is going to not pick Alabama?
You know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. Cincinnati. Go Bearcats. Come on, guys.
All right, Mike, making the bold move.
Come, I believe.
No, here's the thing. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
So and if I am wrong, I will happily be wrong.
Yeah, me too.
If it's not Alabama, I would love Alabama to lose.
So
I don't think they will.
No, like
but it would be incredible if they did.
Realistically, they might as well just march out Cincinnati to that field, all of them wearing blindfolds with cigarettes. Like, it's this is what you get. Okay, so everyone who says like, oh, this team that's undefeated from this bullshit conference, they should get a shot at least, right? Well, it's like, here you go. This is what happens. Get some smaller school.
Yeah.
You give them a shot.
Well, but this one's even different.
The Alabamas of the world are going to boat race them.
But this is different because this isn't like, oh, let's give anybody a shot. Cincinnati has legitimately been trying to pump themselves up all season to tell all of us that they were just as good as everybody else and they deserve their shot, and they're not just some small nobody. They're really good. They're actually very good, and they can handle it. Everybody, look, we beat everybody on our schedule, and well, okay, here you go. You get what you wanted. You get to play Alabama.
You know who else beat everybody on their schedule? Georgia. And then they played Alabama, and we saw what happened.
Yep.
And Georgia played a tougher schedule than you did, Cincinnati. I hate to say it, but they did.
Oh, but hey, Cincinnati played Notre Dame.
Okay.
The other ranked team was let me find it here. Oh gosh, Houston.
Uh-huh. How many games do you think the Houston Cougars would win if they played a full SEC schedule?
11.
No. I'm trying to think of a team in the SEC that they could beat. Maybe Vanderbilt.
Look, I'm just gonna say
Houston was 11-2 this year.
I don't care. They're not. You know what? You put the Missouri Tigers and the Houston Cougars on the field. I take Missouri by 14 in that game.
Look, realistically, yeah, Alabama's gonna slaughter them. But I'm you know what? I'm gonna put a chip down on Cincinnati. Come on, guys.
I'll
Let's
tell you,
see.
having from personal experience, I'll tell you what it's like when you have to play Alabama. Now, Ohio State is not huge.
Does the Imperial March just start playing? And
yeah, but this is what the Ohio State Buckeyes, who were ranked, I don't know, 4th when they played Alabama in 2014, and it was like after the Buckeyes won, I'm like, that was a fucking miracle. I mean, I felt like it was like the 1980 Olympic hockey team is what it felt like to me. It was like, holy shit, we did it. That's what you're up against, Cincinnati. Ohio State, that's how we felt playing those assholes.
For context, Cincinnati, the line is Alabama by 14.
Yeah, they'll cover that.
That's very generous.
Georgia was ranked number 1 in the country when they played Alabama in the SEC championship, and Alabama had no trouble with them, none. So have fun, Bearcats. I would love to see them win, but I'm with you, Zach. I'm gonna pick with my brain and root with my heart here.
Yeah.
So I'm
and then Georgia, Michigan. Georgia's a 7.5 point favorite right now. Game's in Miami. Could Michigan do it in theory? I think what the hope is for Michigan is while Georgia's defense has been pretty awesome, except for the Alabama game, their offense is not.
Right.
And I think if there's something for Michigan to be hopeful for is that they could probably score more points than Georgia could in theory.
I'm looking at this like, do I want Michigan to go out in the first round?
Yeah.
Or do I want them to win this one and then have to just watch them get annihilated by Alabama? So because one more games means that much more success for them this season, which I'm absolutely against.
And do you want to see Georgia, Alabama again?
No, I don't. Yeah. No. So yeah, let's.
Yeah, but you're gonna.
Let's. Yeah, I know we are. If I might, again, in my heart, and I'm not rooting for Michigan because I want them to win. I'm rooting for Michigan because I want them to have to play Alabama, which I think would be hilarious. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know if they can get past Georgia. I think.
Now, what if? Okay, hypothetical here. What if all of Jim Harbaugh's success this year has merely been laying the groundwork for the biggest Harbaugh inning yet, which is that somehow Cincinnati will upset Alabama. Michigan will beat Georgia, and then Michigan will somehow lose to Cincinnati.
That might be
by going for 2.
By going for 2, yes.
That would be the only thing better than watching them get curb stomped by Alabama. Would be that. Be like, you know what? It wasn't the Buckeyes, but it was still Ohio. So fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could beat Georgia, but I haven't seen both teams play. I just don't know that.
Yeah, no, I agree. If it does play out that way, and it's Alabama, Georgia. I'm official. Like if that indeed does happen, petition needs to officially go in next year of no rematches. Only one team per conference.
Yeah, because I
don't care if that means that we get Washington State or whatever the hell.
Go Cougars!
Like who would be the next conference champion at that point? It'd be Oklahoma State.
That's fine.
Baylor. I think it'd be Baylor.
Whatever.
What the hell? Let Baylor lose to Alabama. I don't care. Like,
well, I think
don't make us sit through the same. Like Alabama beat Georgia already. This isn't the pros where you get multiple shots at one team. You had your shot, you lost. Done.
And the way they manipulate those rankings, you tell me they couldn't have found a way to just make it like, okay. Well, I don't know how you do it unless you have Georgia and Alabama play again right out of the gate, which nobody wants. So we don't want them to have to play each other at all. So I don't know how you get around it, but
no, what you do is what was it? The Power 5 conference champs and then 3 at large.
Yeah, highest ranked conference champs, period.
Highest ranked conference champs and then 3 at large, yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes I don't know. There's I don't think the Pac-12 would have had one this year, but
Yeah,
But
Utah
some years
finished
you're going to get
11.
like a Power 5 conference that wouldn't be ranked high enough to be in it. I think that
Yeah.
was like the Big 12 a couple of years ago or something. But I just don't want Georgia, Alabama. I won't even watch it. I'll play fucking video games or something or watch Netflix. I'm not even interested in that. I'm not.
Watch Red Notice instead.
Is that any good?
It is the most. It is exactly what you think a movie with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds would be.
Okay. I started watching Don't Look Up last night, and I'm kind of like taking it in doses because I just got tired and I'm like, all right, I'll finish. So I don't want to fall asleep watching it, but so far it's all right, So
Yeah.
Woo!
anyway, we got to do our picks before we forget. So let's do that real quick. All right. So for our first up, Mike, you've got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Cincinnati Bengals. Who you liking?
Bengals have looked good, but the Chiefs have righted the ship and they're playing lights out. So I'm going to say the Chiefs.
All right. I'll do mine now because I got the dud of the week here. Philadelphia at the 32s.
Hey, the Eagles need to keep winning for that playoff spot.
Yeah. I think they can eliminate the 49ers if they just win out.
Yeah.
Like, that's all they've got to do.
They would get the tiebreak.
I don't know. Yeah, boy, Washington's pretty bad. I'm going to go with the Eagles in that.
Yeah, I don't know how you could pick Washington after that display last night.
Well, I think about 35 of their guys were out, but not that makes any difference. Zach, you have the Las Vegas Raiders via Oakland versus the Indianapolis Colts via Baltimore.
For once, an easy pick, I think. Colts over Raiders.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the Raiders are still in theory hanging around a playoff race, but they've looked pretty listless for a couple weeks, and the Colts have been pretty inspired. So,
yep.
I think
and then Andy had Arizona at Dallas, and he's taking the Cowboys in that one, which I think is probably the smart pick.
Which would be very nice and could clinch the division for the Rams.
Yeah.
So let's. Who
do the Rams play this week?
Rams are at Baltimore.
Wow, I don't know what isn't. I know Lamar's still out, and wasn't Huntley out yesterday?
Tyler Huntley was out yesterday too with COVID. Yeah.
Wow. So, who was the quarterback for the Ravens?
It was again one of those guys I'd never heard of. No, it was they signed. That's right, they signed Josh Johnson off the scrap heap. Remember,
Josh Johnson from the Cardinals. Josh Johnson. Wow, boy, that's scraping the bottom of the barrel right there.
Now the Bucks play the New York Jets.
Oh God.
By the way,
be fun for the Jets.
Speaking of the Jets, I have to give my hearty condolences to the cable watchers of the New York metro area. They got 2 games on Sunday. They were the Jets, Jags, and the Eagles, Giants.
Oh
wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh God. No, at that point, I don't care about local affiliates. You flex some better games in. There's 4 people.
That the NFL's got such stupid rules with that. Like you're not allowed to. Like local markets, they
you got to play the home games, home teams.
Yeah, period.
And if you got 2 playing against each other, you have to black out the other game, and yeah.
It's just God, the NFC East is so God, fuck this division, man.
Well, the funny thing is, I was looking at the standings and I had to laugh because the football team is 6-9, and in my head I was like, oh, that would have put them in line for the division title at this point last year.
Yeah, but they were in the exact same spot. Remember?
Yeah,
because they wanted at 7-9. We wanted them to go 6-10 to win it. They did.
By the way, we are entering the final stretch of weeks of the football team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They're going to be new name next year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and they have to start paying us royalty checks for the 32s.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know what the other names are, but that to me, that's the only choice. The 32s. How can you possibly be offended by the 32s? It's a number.
It'll be something uninspiring and lame, and unfortunately, we'll have to live with it for the rest of the time.
I think it's going to be Red Wolves. I think that's just going to be what they end up going with.
I thought that was something that they already said no to.
I thought it was on the list of finalists.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think that's the best option. of what they had.
32s is the
The
best
thing I
option.
saw. Well, of like the finalists they had announced sounded like.
I thought 32s made the cut though.
Nope.
Not
No,
30
that's just something we made up, Greg. That was never.
No. It was actually under consideration at one point. It really was. Because
You sure?
I'm positive. It wasn't 32s but it was something to do with the 32. Yeah. I'm dead serious. I'm not making that up. It was actually like part of their
from
plan.
September 8th of 2021. The finalists were Red Hogs, Defenders, Armada, Presidents, Brigade, Commanders, Red Wolves, and Football Team.
I can't believe they better be presidents. The Washington Presidents.
It's going to be Defenders.
Well, okay. Defenders was the name of the XFL team.
Doesn't matter.
The TC Defenders.
No, that would be one of the bad ones. And that was a list of 8 that there was a final 3 picked from that 8, but nobody's reported what that final 3 was.
Yeah.
I'm going to look up. Oh, wait a minute. Put my microphone in front of me. I'm going to look up Washington 32s because I swear it was in the running. Not like 32s like what we're doing, but something to do with 32.
There was some. I remember there was some number name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't remember exactly what it was.
I'll just put 32s in and see what happens. Oh, wow. Okay. I hope I spelled Washington correctly. It has an N on the end of it, believe it or not.
The Washington, I don't know. Red Wolves is the least problematic. I guess it's bland, but it's fine.
What were the other ones? Presidents and
Defenders, Armada.
Red
Armada's
Hogs, Defenders,
fucking stupid.
Armada, Presidents, Brigade, Commanders, Red Wolves, Football Team.
Commanders. That's going to be your winner. Commanders, I think. And then they'll have like dumb, I don't know, like
Military.
I mean,
military, but yeah, like 7th or 18th century military naval look type.
they
thing.
always had the people dress up like pigs, and I think maybe they lean into the Red Hogs a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the ones that I could cross off like without even thinking about it are Defenders, Armada, Brigade, and Presidents.
Right. I would laugh if they went with Defenders though, just because that was the XFL team name. Like,
right, I would have to think that they'd run into some sort of issue with that. Like,
well, because the XFL is still,
Defenders football doesn't like have a trademark.
Yeah, because the XFL is still a legal entity, and they are still planning on coming back. So I assume they'd be keeping those trademarks alive.
Well, I think they blew a great opportunity by not going with 32s. So fuck them.
Well, we might have the Washington Presidents.
You know what? I think that we should make a declaration right now that no matter what they go with, they're always going to be the 32s on this show. Just to be done with it. All right, that's fair.
Alternatively, they should just fucking do the meme that we all want and just be the Sentinels from the Replacements.
That'd be great too. Why not? Why wouldn't you do
God,
that?
that's a good football movie.
I don't know why you wouldn't do that. You can even keep the same colors. Fuck it. Who cares? Just, change the name. Yeah. You know what? It's their own fault though for having such a fucking horrible name for all these years. Now they don't know what to do. So screw them.
I mean, they could have fixed this 20 years ago, but they chose not to.
Could have fixed it 40 years ago. You should have fixed it back in the 50s and 60s when no one gave a fuck. That's when you should have done it. I mean, it wasn't like Redskins became a racial slur, in the 80s. It's been that way pretty much from day one. So, what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know why we expect anything out of a team that's run by Dan Snyder anyway. So.
Well, that's why I'm convinced whatever their new name is going to be, they're going to fuck it up somehow. Like,
they might just say football team because I don't know. Do people still wear Redskins gear to the games and all that? I haven't looked.
I think the novelty of football teams worn off. Like, it was kind of funny that first year.
Yeah.
And now it's just.
I don't know. Seeing the scoreboards where it just says football team versus like Lions is never going to be not funny.
Yeah.
I've got to think though that like again the NFL is probably like you can't be the football team. Like pick a fucking name.
Yeah, I think Commanders is going to be your winner, and boy, we're gonna wait till you see the uniforms for these. Just saying. It'll be the Seattle Pilots with their scrambled egg helmet or hats and all that are going to look tame by comparison. I think. We'll see. When are they going to announce this? After the season?
Probably in the off season.
Probably around the draft, I would guess. Right?
Yeah.
Probably right before the next legal thing comes out about them, so they can cover it up.
They better get going quick then. That's what they're racing against here.
Oh God, more emails.
We never heard anything else from them, and that's an impossibility. Like that's just
wonder though, doesn't it? Like what the fuck is in that thing that they don't want it to get out? But I don't know. It's hard to believe that franchise has won 3 Super Bowls. It really is. It's like, wow, what the fuck happened?
Not since Dan Snyder bought him.
No,
just
I know.
For the record.
No. Yeah, what a douchebag that guy is.
Europe.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So if we got nothing else, boys, we'll wrap it up for this week. And I was just going to say really quick too. Believe it or not, despite all the bullshit that's happened, the Cleveland Browns still hold their playoff destiny in their own hands at this point. If they win out, they're in.
Go Cleveland Rabbits.
The Brown Rabbits.
Brown Rabbits.
God. All right. Anyway, so with that, we will call it a night, folks. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, the YouTubes, and wherever. Oh, the fine podcasting and all that stuff is sold. We will, I guess we'll see you next week.
See ya.